Welcome back, everybody. Very excited about this week. We're going to have so much fun this week. So, Jamie van Schoor, CEO of Dwyka Mining Services, is with us today. And he's just a phenomenal person, entrepreneur, technology expert. He's just an amazing person. If you meet him, lots of energy. I'm looking forward to the energy in the room this morning, Jamie. It's been a couple of months. You were like on the short list very early on with this podcast, and you've been traveling the world and you've been doing all sorts of busy stuff. And welcome this morning to the podcast.
Christo, it's great to be on the podcast. I know we've been trying to get a virtual date together. Happy to have it going. I'm also really happy to have someone else that wears a cap as much as me. So it's great to it's great to share that. And yeah, it's also been nice following you and the growth. And yeah, I think that the more people talk about tech, the better. And it's great to see your platform growing. So happy to be here. Look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, and thank you for your time. So, I mean, your company is all about technology. It's about, I think if I can sum it up the way I understand it, it's bringing your underground, or mostly underground mining clients, but nowadays like mining clients, you bring them and the technology companies together, and you provide that magical gel between the two. And in your LinkedIn profile, you have this statement, driven to empower teams with technology. And would you mind just giving a bit of an intro to yourself, and also just what do you do, and you know, what is this about, this Dwyka Mining Services? But you're also, by the way, director of Deep Tech Solutions and director of Terramin. It's been a number of years that company has been going with ventilation services for the underground mining industry. But yeah, just tell the audience a little bit about who's Jamie. Who's this? I'm interested that you haven't got the funny colored T-shirt on today, and your shoes. Hopefully, you've got that for us at a later stage. But yeah, looking forward to having this conversation. Jamie, over to you.
It's a fantastic intro, and I'm humbled by your words. To be honest, we've worked closely, I think, previously at Trevali, so you've been a client and someone that we've talked closely. But I'm always wearing the brand, of course, but I obviously the start of the Rugby World Cup today, so I'm not going to disappoint you. I hope it's not backwards though. It is backwards. Go Bokke!
Well done.
So
well done, Jamie.
I hope that I'd have to flick the video. I should have probably done a quick test, but that is the nature of this business, is that we move quickly and we don't always have the time to look back. But yeah, start of the Rugby World Cup, so I thought I'd add some flair. We obviously excited to see the box in France, and our team has also drawn a lucky hat, so our whole company's got our eyes firmly on the trophy. But back to your question, I think the journey of Dwyka is, and you ask who I am. I think that where I land up in Dwyka is a function of walking a road that wasn't necessarily planned. The reason we got into mining technology, as you say, I was a director at Terramin, exited that family business with just one software platform, Vensum, which it's become like a heartfelt software platform for us. It's seen us through thick and thin. And really, that's where the story and the thread starts with Dwyka. We've grown this business based on a single software platform and slowly just added value along the way. And that's how we kind of term ourselves as a value-adding reseller. And this technology platform has been a result of, like the old miners in Pilgrim's Rest, following the gold, literally just following the user requirements, listening closely to what our clients need, and just adding that to our backpack. And yeah, I'm in the fortunate position now, almost 8 years or 10 years down the line, where I get to curate that backpack. And for me, that's hugely empowering. And you say we empower teams. It's about finding the right person to carry that backpack. At the same time, then trying to find the right technology to push that individual into the right space with the right skills and the right confidence to deliver on this promise. So our big thing in the Dwyka business is delivering safely, on time, in full, with no repeated errors. So that's the tattoo that we give all of our mining technologists as they arrive and get onboarded. But really, that's been the theme of our growth, is that I think we've done a good job to deliver on promises. And that's delivered trust in technology, where often it's a leap. We're like, here's our hand, we're going to do this together. And I mean, you've had that journey when we had some time at Trevally where a lot of people had never flown a drone underground, but suddenly they were flying, sorry, even a drone on surface, but then suddenly they were flying a enterprise drone in an underground stope within 3 months of training.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a collaboration. The platform has allowed us to add this, select ingredients to create, like in your words, this magic. And I strongly believe that the technologists in our business are magicians. They make magic happen. And but that, yeah, it's a collaborative pursuit, and we're just super excited to have the trust of our clients to have that opportunity with them to make things safer and more productive, and hopefully leave a long-lasting positive legacy on their operations.
Where does all the energy come from?
Lots of coffee. No, I'm joking. I think, I mean, coming back to the story of I use the term entrepreneur quite loosely. I think when you tick the box, you're just self-employed, which means you just sleep less at night. But I think I grew up in a family business environment. Like you said, the Terramin business, I think it's been going now for 43 years. And when someone needed a pump at 12 o'clock at night on a Friday, and my father Martin would jump in his Mercedes Benz with the Windsmaster pump and deliver on a Saturday morning instead of going to his golf game, that was just that was part of the course, to give the golfing analogy. And I think that kind of chutzpah, as the Jewish people call it, is kind of embedded in my fabric, at least. And it's the same kind of chutzpah that we're trying to get into our mining technologists, because a lot of technology technology adoption is about resilience. Yes. And it's a key factor of what we try. And you talk about coaching, this mining coach. This is and I read a lot of and listen to a lot of podcasts around, what is the secret recipe? What's the secret ingredient? And a lot of what it comes back to is resilience. Can your team get back up after the punch? Can you get up after punch? And the energy is about two things in my way: passion and that ability to kind of hou fast in Afrikaans.
Yeah. And you just say that, but I really agree with the resilience part of it and the discipline, just doing the small things right all the time and believing in your team. And it doesn't come easy. And for somebody that's a young Jamie and has got a technology solution, or maybe thinking about going out on a limb by themselves, you started with one technology platform with, the Vensim, and, you just started bolting on other solutions to your mining clients. What would you say to a younger Jamie starting out, apart from just the resilience, but also the energy, the passion that you've mentioned, any other advice that you would give a young startup technology mining company?
I think, and one, I'd welcome anyone that's getting into the technology space, because this rising tide lifts ships. We need more voices like yourself talking about the positive impact of tech. I think we're too quick to slip into this narrative where tech disempowers people. And I'm confidently, and you can look at the growth of our business and our client success, where technology is actually creating opportunities and employment. The more we sell tech, the more we realize we need to talk about teams to deploy it. The lesson, and I use it sparingly because I'm still learning. I also still make mistakes, and I don't know, I hope I'd give the right counsel to someone starting out. But the one thing that we don't always do as well as we should is because we want to move quickly, is about research. One of our core values in our business is about R&D. It's research and development. Often we get caught in a space where we want to develop for our clients to answer a product or a problem or a solution, but it's the research stuff that almost seems a luxury. I would say that and with, information is readily available these days. You can research a topic, a supply chain, an opportunity very easily from a desktop computer. It actually forms a filter to our employment process. When we hire someone, we actually ask them to come back to us and research and develop something, so we know that they have that capability. And researching is a huge part of, I think, making sure that you have the right business model, the right go-to-market, the right segmentation. It's basic marketing. That's what I studied. I'm a marketing graduate by trade. Yeah. But I think if you don't understand your market and you're not listening to what they need, that's all the energy, all the resilience in the world is not going to stand you in good stead when you're looking at your income statement and there's nothing on the high line and very little on the low line to pay for sandwiches.
That's great feedback. And you talk about yourself having been in this, started out in marketing. And I'm actually just last night on an aeroplane, I was finishing Seth Godin's book on This Is Marketing. And I was just blown away by the basics of just serving for the pure sake of improving people's lives and improving a business. And you've done a lot of that, listening very closely to your clients. Where did that start? Was it your dad that helped you understanding that a little bit better? Because you really do listen well to your clients and finding a solution that helps them.
Listen, when my wife listens to this podcast, and I'll certainly make her do so, she says I don't always listen. So it's flattering to hear that I do listen, but I do try. And I think, growing up, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That ratio of 2 to 1 is a big thing. But also, it's about doing the small things that people realize you're listening, like showing up. When you said you were going to show up, delivering something on time. When you said you were going to, it's like those little promises, like you said earlier, about little things making big things. I forget now the podcast I was listening to, and it's the thesis of their business growth was the little things make the big impacts. On the listening side, I think specifically if you're in a space where people need assurance, they're making specifically a new technology deployment, they're making decisions without as much data, talking about research again, without any sufficient data to deliver a return on investment. Everyone's after this magical ROI. But often it's about taking a leap with half the information and then moving very quickly to fail or to succeed so that you can deliver. So I think then you have to listen quickly about what is actually possible and what you can achieve in that short period of time. Because the problem with technology projects is that if they take long, you start reducing trust as well. So I think listening is key. But I think I can always do better than that. And you can ask my wife.
Well, at least you're very authentic in answering that. And thanks for that. Jamie, I was super impressed and I was very privileged to attend your Tech Carnival in Johannesburg a few months ago. And that was just a phenomenal event that you put together. Would you like to just talk about that a little bit? Where did that start? Where did the dream come from? And you did such an amazing job with that. It was so well received. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks, Christo, and thanks for coming. I've been thinking about, a little bit about our business as well, that it's not just enough to deploy technology, you need to excite. And a lot about our brand is about doing things very differently. And that comes from a little bit about the story about me actually never being in mining. I was marketing, trade, in sponsorship, worked with the FIFA World Cup campaign for 2 of their partners, rolled out fan parks. So a lot of the engagement and excitement and eventing and showmanship comes from the learnings in that world. And quickly I realized that mining, unless it's cotton socks, the long socks that you put rubber boots on, is that it's quite staid and it's ripe for a little bit of fun and a little bit of disruption. So I think that blend was an easy one to kind of bring into the fold. The Tech Carnival, I've been thinking about for ages because there really isn't a platform for people that are excited about technology or a place where people can be excited. Is mostly just mining shows where we get thrown in the corner with a 3x3 or a 6x3 stand, a couple of pull-up runners, and then try our best to smose as much tech as possible to the financiers or the C-suite. And it really didn't, one of our themes is making tech tangible, literally like with the hands, touching, feeling, kicking, less breaking, but it does happen. And we wanted to make tech come alive. And as you said, I'm not afraid of the microphone or the camera. And it was a part about blending the newest technologies and getting people to speak about it, but then also having this platform where people can literally walk onto a stand and touch it, feel it, shake it, and see a real use case. So one of the things that I hope that came through, is that we wanted to make sure that you could look at a use case. And there was something real about the technology, not just a fancy scanning system from Lay's or Emerson. It was about seeing the dog and then seeing that Anglo American actually put it to the face. So making this tech tangible, but also saying there's something real about it. So that was the one aspect. And then the other aspect was, listen, how are we going to get people there? Because there's a share of mind, COVID, difficult to get people out. Like, how do we be different? And how do we be the honeypot of the tech world?
Yeah.
So then the theme was, well, how do we bring the circus to town, but keep it serious?
Yes.
So this tension of making the tech carnival in 2023 year was about making sure that people were excited to come, and that in future years people said, well, we had a great time. And I hope that in 2025 we're going to roll it out every 2 years, I think, is going to be the theme. But in the next one, people will have a perspective, and there's a platform that's starting to plant the seed around real tech, making real impact. And of course, the other part of that, which we didn't quite get right, and transparently had to spend a lot more money than I thought we'd make in the first one, which is normal with events, was to make a real good social impact around tech. So the theme or the thesis of the tickets was that any contribution on tickets sold would be donated to charity. So we had 3 charities, and the idea is for it to be a net zero event in time, so that people coming contribute by way of the tickets to the designated non-profit organization. So a tech for good event that delivers real technology and hopefully excites someone. I mean, I still have this vision where I saw someone in like a 2-tone khaki, had a handful of popcorn, a slush puppy, and he was speaking to one of our OEMs from America. And I thought, this is globalization, this global technology meeting local 2-tone khaki. And a nice way to remember it is sipping on a blue slush puppy as he did so. So, that's a memorable event that hopefully gets sticky, and that then creates a platform for yourself to come. I would love to see you do a podcast there, in the next time, and maybe we can drive a whole bunch of interesting and fun narratives around attracting also different segments. We want the minds to get involved next time. We want youth to present as far as education and tertiary side of things. So we're excited about it. And next year there will be a small cameo of the Tech Carnival. But we're looking for a big punch every 2 years.
That's fantastic. We're just having a conversation, and I was just reminded while you were talking about, you're talking about the youth and the diversity of the team on your side. I was very impressed with how you bring diversity in your business and in your marketing, and just not doing it for the sake of numbers, but really leveraging this wonderful diverse people that we have in this country. Why is that so important to you, and where does this come about? How did this come about for you?
So coming back to, I think, Dwyka, empowering teams with technology. I'm proudly African. I mean, I know you can't see the Go Booker there, but if you look very close, you can see it. But when I've been fortunate enough to use this platform to travel most of Africa. I think I've seen more of Africa than most, and globally for that matter. And being able to have a reason to share and help other people get exposed to similar kinds of experiences has been hugely rewarding. So that's a personal side of things for me, is seeing people grow and developing talent and identifying a talent. I mean, I'll tell you a story. One of my third in Bongani, I must have worked through about 500 CVs on this Yes Employment program. And I stumbled across this, and for some reason it popped out. So maybe one thing I've got done okay is about identifying talent.
Yes.
And he was working for a telecommunications business, trenching fiber. And that was 5 years ago. Bongani is now one of our lead data technologists, and he's traveled the world. He's off to Ghana to deploy a fairly substantial contract. He's running all over East and West Africa now, deploying teams for site survey. And I think to answer your question in a different way, is saying when you give the right kind of people opportunities, it's magic to see what they can do. And Africa has got this huge base of impressive, resilient, and determined talent, because a lot of them haven't had the luxuries that I've had. I was fortunate to go to a great school, a great university, and many of them have got themselves through university, but they don't have the opportunity. And this is where I think, and I'm speaking actually next week, so maybe or the week thereafter at the YPC same conference. Christo, I'm going to invite you now. And it's about youth and where do they fit in. And I think there's this missing bridge between leaving varsity and being equipped for this digital world, but also for real world deliverables. And that inflection point is where I think Dwyka is going to start playing a much more critical role. I think, to give you insight, we're going to be launching Dwyka Labs, which is going to start answering that bridging problem. We want to give people the exposure and the confidence that they can tackle a discussion like this, for example. It's not all about mining. Can they get onto a podcast and deliver a reasonable account of who they are and what they do? And that confidence is something that you only get through exposure and opportunity. So while we had to safeguard our brand and say, I don't want to put the wrong person in with Dwyka, and people saying, who's this guy? Is young, or who's this lady? She's young. Is she the Dwyka thing? People have to make mistakes to represent themselves better in the future. So selecting talent is big, but also you have to be big on risk with giving them opportunity and a time to carve their own slice of the pie. And I mean, now we have 35 technologists. We embed 5 learners a year. Not all of them make it. It's a very competitive program, but essentially 2 to 3 a year join the team. And that's kind of our growth on that front. And and the reality is we get CV requests every week, because there are people that want to be involved in our business and also like this platform for their own, and seeing their peers and their friends doing the same thing. So I think we're doing something right there. But I mean, as businesses get bigger, it becomes harder to pull the string. So that's where I'm spending time these days.
Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations for that, because it's so evident when you see these people in your team and how they've grown and how they've developed and how they've become brilliant at speaking in public and delivering a message that makes an impact. So the next question is more about things can sometimes go wrong with technology, and we all have been there and we've all seen that. And what do you say, to your team when an implementation or an adoption doesn't go as planned?
You just hope it's not $1 million question. That's the first thing I say. I say my friends, I say to my colleagues, is saying, well, if we're going to make mistakes, fail fast quickly, but also don't make million-rand mistakes. So I think it's about sandboxing and making sure that you also box the right risk for the right individual. Retabile Letlala, one of my directors and shareholders in the business, was first in this business. He can handle anything. Of the last 8 years, I can put him in hot water and he'll be able to handle it. But I think it's a learning process. I think also giving, one of our values again is R&D. And if you're in the research and development space and things aren't failing 10 to 15% of the time, you're either not pushing it hard enough, or you're not, especially in the mining space, pushing it in the right areas. And we deal with the most challenging environments probably known to man, other than putting things on the moon or to Mars with Elon. So things can go wrong, and things do go wrong. But I think staggering those, and we have the saying in our business, crawl before you walk, before you fly. And it was adopted from the drone experiences, but really our clients need to, often they're flying a drone but don't have a driver's license for a vehicle. So now we've triaged that and say maybe only people with the driver's license that can drive a car can drive a drone. So the learning there was saying, when people are making mistakes in that capacity, what is the root cause? So we try and revert back after our mistakes and our clients' oversight, and we try and mend it for the next client. And as that gets mended, the assurance gets higher and the platform grows. So I think mistakes and issues are inevitable, and then also being honest. I think candor in this business is, you're shrouded by having to deliver, and small community, word of mouth. Everyone's very worried about what people are saying. I think you need to own and be accountable, and then also be quick to remedy. We don't also always get everything right, like you say. Like we also make mistakes, and I think and I hope that our brand is one where we own to it, and then we maak reg in Afrikaans. We make right.
Yeah, that's amazing. And with technology also being a threat to jobs, is that a problem that you experience with your clients, that sometimes the technology is, intentionally broken because it may be a threat to a job or jobs at the mine?
Yeah, I mean, I think over the years we've seen like things like sabotage, and we disappointingly had our robot dog at a mine site was turned away because labor wasn't felt like they were consulted enough, even though we'd done what we thought was sufficient. So it's a moving target, and I think that we're going to still see a lot of fear for technology, because in many respects it is. You look at like advances in ChatGPT and some of that kind of software stuff. There are some roles that are under pressure. I mean, those aren't even low skilled roles. Those are now high skilled roles where the lawyers and academia are worried about where they fit into this new digital world. So I think it's not just a mining problem to solve, but yeah, we get that the labor side of it. I think the way that we look at it is that we want to sell technology that gives humans superpowers. So just like the big Superman emblem on someone's chest, if the technology is not augmenting that person's effort or adding value or giving them like a superpower, like the ability to give them infrared views, which humans can't do, then we're probably in the wrong space. The other side of it is that I always ask is that, well, if you're worried about a taking job, would you send your children into that environment with that sensor? And immediately the answer is no, I wouldn't. Because then why are we having this discussion about not sending Spot? Because Spot is a much better way to get the data more safely, and it's going to do so while you're on surface safely getting back to your family during a blast re-entry period. So it's this educating the market is another big part of sometimes why our business moves slowly, and also why we have to move very quickly, because when things do happen and there's that kind of velocity in the industry, we need to capitalize. So yeah, it's a constant moving target in the summary, but in our experience, it's best to have tough discussions up front and involve unions, involve management, involve the foreman, and then you start at the bottom, you start at the top, and then sometimes you meet with this from the C-suite to the foreman level, and then you have to start all over again to come back to this proof of concept. So it's time consuming, but it's about engagement and excitement, and it's all these like human emotions that you kind of also have to address. Again, coming back to, it's not just about the tech. How do we get the team to adopt? And the more we talk about tech, the more we are talking to teams.
As I was saying, I was reading this book, and it's just so phenomenal that when you create this community that starts talking about the benefit of the tech, like underground drones, we spoke about that, and how that has just improved significantly the underground environment of just having to be able to fly that drone very quickly, where previously would take you, a week to scan those stopes and understand dilution and understand overbreak and all of that. And you can now do it, basically real time, fly the drone and understand exactly how that has changed your mine, and how quickly that has just rolled out as a technology that a lot of mines just want now because it works. And yes, there are drones that fall and there are pilots that are not doing their job so well, but the technology, if it changes and it makes life easier and people can see that I can do it safer, that it really does get embraced. And so well done with that one.
Maybe just on a jump on that question, or like that statement. I always think that the events that maybe aren't always like incidents, like a drone or something going down. We're quick to, it's like rugby. So to use the Rugby World Cup analogy, we're quick to critique the ref when he does a bad decision, right? But it's more difficult to remember all the good blows. Because a ref also makes very good decisions along the way. And I think it's our human capacity often that we just remember the bad. But the example about the drones, like on the mission side that add value, it would be really interesting to see the compounded savings and value addition from 10 consecutive missions successfully deployed over one incident over the lifetime of that kind of stope or that mine. Because that kind of intelligence, while it's not rands and cents, there's a huge downstream impact and upstream impact to the bottom line of a business. And I can tell you that my experience or my feeling is that the incidents are less than rounding errors for the value that's often delivered from technology.
Absolutely.
We look at the greater income statement of a large mining operation. And maybe just to touch on that, and maybe a challenge to some of your listeners, but also some of my other clients, is that I don't think we spend enough on innovation and tech. They're going to say, Jamie, you're just trying to get more units out of us. I actually don't mind if it's with other technologies or with other consultations, but as a base, Meta, the Facebook-owned business, I think they spend 10% on their top-line revenue on innovation technology. I think the standard in South Africa by our large listed mining operations is less than 1%. I'm not sure how you would quantify that and what gets classified as technology innovation spend, but to make big advances and to change the game, you have to be prepared to start spending more on technology and innovation. And maybe that's going to be a challenge of the next wave of accountants. Maybe there's going to be digital ROI people in accounting and finance departments in mines, being able to synthesize what was the return over that investment. And I hope that that's going to be something that evolves, because I think that's what's probably needed. Like, can we spend this? Because the value of backing one of these technologies is a huge opportunity for us to shave costs, improve revenue, reduce dilution, improve or underbreak, whatever the case is. I think those kinds of things need the backing of like the finance team, and C-suite, because they like seeing the fancy tech, but really where they want is to hit the metal.
For sure. Jamie, to wrap this up a little bit, I know you push for time as well. The 3 things that you would say were greatest successes, and what is their recipe that one follows with technology? You spoke a lot about, we've covered a lot of detail on how to do things right, and engagement and bringing unions on board, but are there is there a recipe that you follow always to make sure your technology is hitting the mark? Or your interface, not your technology, you bring technology and mining clients together, how do you do that gel recipe?
So I think, there's no secret around our values. I think our values have been the recipe. Delivering on our promise, family-centric values in our business, meaning we kind of work for the business of our family, and that we kind of are cohesive around what we do. Being, a big proponent of R&D, and I think that those kind of things are the things that have crafted our secret ingredients. The magic that's happened has been about some of our senior management. So to sing praise, I spoke about Retabile, but up and coming stars that are starting to add value when I'm not around. So I think talent has been a big thing. Finding the right talent and then nurturing it, investing in it, giving people exposure and opportunity. I think the other part of it is having support of suppliers. We've been very fortunate. We work hard on our relationships. We do our best to live in very tough African environments, and having that support and backing has been a big part of our success as well. Our top, you would have seen the platinum sponsors like the Emersons, the Lays, the Boston Dynamics, Clemcorp, Vensim Howden. We've been able to do these things with their support as well. So I think having committed partners and stakeholders in your business has been another key recipe. And then delivering on what you promise. I think probably the nice way to end this off is we make promises to our client to deliver by a certain time, to a certain expectation, and delivering on the promises lets us have the next opportunity. And it's when we don't deliver on the promise that we do a disservice to the rest of those previous discussed people, the stakeholders, our talent, our clients. So yeah, the small incident of keeping your promises and doing your best in the classic scout or cub mentality is probably been the recipes. But if I gave you all the IP like Elon Musk, Christo, then you'd be interviewing 6 other people. But no, I mean, I'm very happy to share, and I hope that it sparks 1 or 2 other discussions with people that are inspired to get involved, and I'm very happy to make that connection.
This has been awesome. And Jamie, and just for our listeners, this is not a marketing business for Jamie's business. This is helping a younger version of ourselves, and maybe a peer to ourselves that's also in this space. And Jamie, so I just want to congratulate you for what you are doing for the country, and for the youth, and for just development of people, and for making our minds safe and adding value with technology, and bringing technology and mining clients together. It's been a great experience for me working with you and your teams, and also just seeing how you are changing and shaping technology space in mining in the African space. And as you say, now you're global. But thank you very much for making the time to be on this podcast and sharing your lessons learned. Any final words from your end?
No, I think you've summed it up, and we're flattered to be able to spend some time talking about ourselves. We normally have to talk about our clients, so it's very cool. I also wanted to say just a heads up to you again, an unashamed punt for the mining coach. I think a big part of our success, specifically in the African continent, is around coaching, mentoring, training. So yeah, thanks, a thumbs up to you, and I wish you luck on your platform. I see it's growing, and I'm excited to see that grow. Looking forward to supporting it. I think we can all use coaching, no matter if you're young or old. We never stop learning, and I can tell you that we don't stop learning in our business. So I'll be watching all your coaching sessions, seeing what bits and pieces I can pick up from everyone else's recipes of success. Yeah. So thanks, Christo, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Well, everybody, thank you. We'll be back with a short recap just in a short while. Thanks for listening so far.
Go Boca!
Cheers, Jamie.
Bye, Christo.
Welcome back, everybody. That was a fantastic conversation. There's so much that Jamie shared with us, helping a younger version of himself. I'm just going to capture 4 things. So there's a lot more, but there's so much. But number 1, listen to your clients. Number 2, develop your teams and empower them. Number 3, have passion for what you do in the technology space. And finally, have the resilience to see things through. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your mining, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.